So as I was saying before I got so rudely interrupted, there is not a single bonfire in New Londo Ruins, which means that all trips to it have to start from outside of it, and because of that issue, it can be very important for you to pick a bonfire close by and figure out all of the shortest routes to the place that you want to go. It's an interesting area that has that weird sort of flavor to it, and I kind of like that the area that is completely underwater doesn't have a bonfire, as much as that can get frustrating for the boss fight that we're not going to see. At least not yet. Surprising amount of messages around this. Fair enough. But yeah, the whole transient curse thing, despite the gripes that some people have with it, I think it's one of the more interesting systems that you see, that you're kind of meant to see later in the game. Obviously, you can see it right from the start if you're really feeling saucy, because it makes this whole area have a certain tension to it that the rest of the game really doesn't, especially because you don't have any bonfires. So when you're in this top area of New Londo that has these ghosts, there's always this tension of, is this consumable resource that I have going to run out at the worst time possible, you know? Am I going to be in the middle of a fight with ghosts and suddenly have to reapply this and get my ass whooped? It's actually a pretty neat idea, especially in a place where you're always being really careful not to fall off all of these rickety platforms. This area certainly has its issues, but I actually think it's one of the stronger ones overall that you see. And as has been noted, if you have a regular curse, you can actually go... Oop, there we go. Ghosts do themselves drop transient curses, which it's a rare drop, but it can help you out if you're starting to run low, and that's kind of one of the mercies. But as I was saying, if you yourself are cursed, you can hit the ghosts without a transient curse. And that's really important because the only way to cure curses in the game, or at least the only way to cure curses early in the game, used to be... Uh-oh. Yeah, you have to make sure you hit if you end up in the middle of that grab attack, because it has a long wind-up, but it has ridiculous reach. But anyway, in the original version of this game, before they patched it to be a little bit less shit, was this place had the only way to cure a curse before you found the clams that drop the curse, the purging stones. Like, think about that. Basically, if you had gotten curse, which halves your HP permanently until you get rid of the curse, you had to find out that you could go down to New Londo Ruins, which the game tells you to go here, but you're not going to have any idea where that is. So what I'm actually going to do here is let the ghosts spawn in, kill the one behind me first, because that really felt like the inciting incident to that whole death there, You basically had to find this place and go through it, and I really like... There's some developer comments on it about how the curse system... There was a way it was meant to be viewed that ghost is halfway in the floor. So they basically intended you getting cursed to turn itself into this little mini quest that not all players have. And I really like the idea behind that, but it's just that the execution is so painful, you know? Ow. In a game that doesn't have a mini-map, there's another ghost who was hitting me through the wall there. And that is one thing. Ghosts can hit you in just about any way through a wall. You have to be careful around them. So, like, the original idea behind the curse status and the fact that for most of the game you can really only cure it with this little, like, by going through this area that's mostly inaccessible otherwise. I think that's a really cool idea, but the execution of it and the particulars of Dark Souls being a game without a map, which means that if you get told to go to New Londo Ruins when you get cursed, and you just have absolutely no idea where New Londo Ruins is, it makes the whole thing feel extremely punitive. And I mean, that's really unfortunate because, like I said, I love the idea of having this, you know, secondary quest system. And it really, like, kind of drives in the illegitimacy of your first quest if you think about it. When you might think you're on this grand quest, but really you're just a person going around and dealing with their own problems. Yeah, you are real sneaky there, Ghost. I think I can hit it. Yes, I can. Straight through the wall. We do get a parrying dagger for our troubles. So it's one of those. It's another one of those classic Dark Souls. Fantastic idea and concept, kind of unrealized and unfortunate in effect, and I definitely don't blame someone for getting cursed and saying, wow, fuck this game, I hate it. It does feel like an idea that could work in a game that allowed you to break off into side quests like that more often. I don't know. Hard to say. Let's look at this parrying dagger as I get the hiccups. Parrying dagger. This dagger is useful after parrying and is normally equipped in the left hand. A favorite of the Knights of Karim, who are famous for fighting without a shield. So Lautrec actually had a parrying dagger on him. It's one of the few weapons that can parry, and I think it has a slightly better parry window time than most shields do. So, if you're good at parrying, if you're extremely not me, you can basically use this to up your chances of parrying things properly, and I think it might also up the damage that you get. So that's pretty good. I like that it's in the game and around, and I like that it specifically points out Karim because it, you know, gives more. Oh yeah, our transient curse ran out. The easiest way to tell is that we have the green aura of the Grass Crest shield, where when we burn a curse, we actually gain it. It actually turns into a white aura for the duration of the curse, so useful to keep that in mind. Ghosts are hittable while they're spawning, which is honestly one of the best times to do it. I probably should have done that earlier. Let's see, yeah, there's one over here. This is actually a bit of a different one. You can see it has, like, something of a bloody face. Those ones you want to be really, really careful around because they do a lot more damage. And I believe they have some other bad things about them that I can't quite remember off the top of my head. We'll be seeing others, though. If you go through this fog door, you actually end up in that area that I told you about before. This is the ladder that we looked at, and that's the ledge right over there. So, this is the world's most obvious trap, but, I mean, we gotta spring it, right? I do like this, the way that the ghosts actually have a downward attack specifically for this. Unfortunately, yeah, now that you've gotten them, oops. Woohoo, that was close. So they actually have done this in a bunch of areas, and this is really the game's way of safely showing it to you, where you kind of, let's show how this is framed, because it's actually really good encounter design. So, you go through this fog door, and you see its stairs. Your kind of basic instinct is to, like, tilt the camera up like this, which, as long as you're paying attention, will show you the ghost up top. So you know it's here, you know that this is, like, a really obvious trick, but you run over here, and you get to see the knife attack in what is essentially a safe space for it. I really like the way they do that. There's another ghost down there. And down? If you run through this area here, yeah, it turns out they actually have an up attack as well. So you get what is basically like, you know, a safe introduction, and then they start playing on the theme a bit. And of course, we kind of have to wait for them to decide they want to go up, basically. Try ranged battle. Fair enough, but it's not what we're here for, friend. But yeah, I just really like the design of that. That's kind of a really good one. Over here. Be wary of jumping. Yeah, fair enough. That'll probably get you killed. Oh, there we go. I knew, yeah, this corner over here actually brings 4 ghosts over to you. Be careful, friend. Oh, nope, here we go, bye. Whoops. If I were to have just gone through that door, that fog door right over there, I wouldn't have aggroed those ghosts. So that was just, that was a bad decision. Whoops. Now, it's worth noting that we actually are up on transient curses. Like, we've gained more transient curses than we've used since entering this area. And part of that is because we've gotten drops that always appear, but at the same time, the game is very generous, relatively speaking, with the transient curses that it gives. I mean, you can buy an unlimited amount from the female undead merchant. That was where we got our original ones. But even if you don't do that, you'll get by just fine, basically. Alright, this could get us killed. This could get us very killed, so... Whoop! There we go. It's not that bad. But yeah, like, I think the designers realized that this could be a very... Oh! Right. You have to kick that ladder down. I'm an idiot. Oops. Whoops. Damn. I forgot that. Ow. Take out these ghosts here. So, I think the designers realized that it would be very frustrating, play-wise, to really limit these resources and be as mean as they could in a game that isn't really built around it. And I think that's a good thing. Also, I wish Leanna had a little more upper arm strength. She'd be able to just pop herself right up there. Oh well. I'm gonna have to go through that awful ghost room again. Whoops! Oh god, I was right next to the ladder too. I just forgot that it doesn't fall down immediately. You have to experience that ghost room, baby. Anyway, you actually can get down from here safely, so I didn't kill myself, I think. I hope. Yeah, there's a message here, as if to say, you won't die, I promise. Which is, you know, kind of this person. Shortcut ahead. Actually, no, that's pointing to something entirely different. Anyway, so we gotta go back through that ghost room. Oh boy. I hope the curse doesn't run out in the middle of that. That'd be really fucking funny. Fill up. Luckily, this ghost got impatient. Oh, fuck. Honestly, I'm fine with them using that attack. There we go. If you crowd control it, like, hardcore, you'll generally be pretty safe. I mean, we can kill these things in one hit, so... They only pose so much of a threat to us, you know? As long as we're dealing with them quickly. If you're not, you're in trouble. You can get overwhelmed very quickly. Pop over back this way, make sure we kick that ladder down so that we don't get chumped again. Actually hit our swing because we're good at video games. Yeah. Boop. Now we can skip that room always and forever. I mean, on the plus side, we won't get stabbed from below this way. That's nice, right? I'm almost surprised that we made it back here to claim our souls. So yeah, the ghosts... Oh, actually they do aggro as soon as you come down this way. Huh, did not realize that. Now, you do kind of have to be, like... It's... Because they are, like, the only enemy in the game that's really, like, not locked to the ground, you know, can move around in 3D space. the game isn't really designed to help you hit them in the way that it is with a lot of other enemies, so you kind of have to, like, line up your swings for the low ones or understand exactly where you're meant to be. Let's see, I know there are other ghosts. But I will say, if you don't understand this area, it is one of the most stressful things in the game to just kind of see these ghosts showing up from all around you and kind of just, you know, being terrified of every doorway that you walk through, you know? Is another ghost gonna try to pop me through the floor here? All the rules of engagement that you've sort of, oops, oh shit. All the rules of engagement that you've kind of, like, had beforehand. Right, these things know magic. Like, powerful magic. I gotta make them dead. Yeah, the range on ghosts is ridiculous. Also, you'll notice some, ah, shit. Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So anyway, you'll notice some foley in this area as you walk around. Some, crunchy. Ugh. Although if we go through this, we do actually find a ladder in this fireplace. Kind of an interesting decision for a homemaker, but what do we know? Ow. Oh yeah, be careful on ladders, because ghosts can, you know, ghosts don't really care about the three-dimensional plane. Whew. So yeah, like this whole area is kind of terrifying when you don't really, you know, like when you don't know where the ghosts are, because you are walking into each room wondering where the next threat is going to come from. You can't really see things and predict them. And that's kind of why the ghosts themselves are as weak as they are. Like you saw, we got hit by a grab attack and it did, you know, a sizable amount of damage, but not like what most grab attacks are. Most grab attacks just kill you. Anyway, remember how I said that there was an armor set that we got that was relevant to New Londo? This guy happens to be wearing it. Let's give that a look real quick before we talk to him. It's the Crimson set, I believe. Yeah, Mask of the Sealer, Crimson Gloves, Crimson Waistcloth. Now, we got this back in Blighttown. Mask of the Sorcerers who flooded New Londo to seal away the Dark Wraiths, and the Four Kings who descended into dark. It symbolizes their resolve to keep the seal shut forever, and their atonement for all who were sacrificed. But two of the three forsook New Londo upon tiring of their duty. We also get the Sealers were once known as healers, and the bright crimson was a symbol of that. So we saw that the results, or like that the eventual fate of one of the Sealers was Blighttown, and I believe was to die in Blighttown attempting to fight the curse. I believe we also got the Tin Banishment Catalyst? Yes, Catalyst of the Banishment Sorcerers who flooded New Londo to seal off. Oops, that's a typo, and I probably had the same reaction the first time. Seal away the Dark Wraiths and the Kings who fell to dark. In contrast to other catalysts, the Metal Catalyst qualifies as a weapon, as it inflicts physical damage, however small. So, this is stuff that we saw all the way back then, but now we're actually going to explore that a bit. If you recall, Frampt told us that we have to kill the Four Kings, so it seems that the Four Kings are the ones that we are looking for in this area, and we learned that these are the Four Kings of New Londo who fell to darkness and the Dark Wraiths, whatever those are. So, one died in Blighttown. One appeared to be partied up with Lautrec, because we fought another person in this armor set when we invaded Lautrec. And we don't know much else about that one, but we know where they were. And it seems that this is the final one who did not forsake his duty.
Well, this is a surprise. I get few visitors, save for ghosts. You have the Lord Vessel. Very impressive. I know exactly what your intentions are. You seek the Four Kings, whom I guard over. This is the key to the seal.
And so we kind of sort of skip over some dialogue here. I don't know how much of it is gone forever and how much we'll be able to get just by talking to him later. But clearly, this guy knows of our journey and knows that we have the Lord Vessel. So if you come to him after having completed the Ornstein and Smo fight and getting the Lord Vessel, he will give you this key to the seal to get to the Four Kings. But he has a lot more to him than just that.
The Four Kings slumber in the deepest chamber of the ruins. Use this key to break the seal and open the floodgates. Oh, and do not forget, the dark wraiths reside in a dark void called the Abyss. But the Abyss is no place for ordinary mortals. Although, long ago, the knight Artorius traversed the Abyss. If you can find him and learn from him, the Abyss may prove surmountable.
And so we also get this, that not only is this whole area flooded to seal away the king and the dark wraiths, but also the dark wraith, or the kings themselves reside in something called the Abyss, which we can't walk on. If you go into this boss fight without having certain preparations made, you will just fall through the earth and you will die. It's a bit of an awful thing, but I do kind of like that the game is sort of defers you onto another quest here again. There's a lot of concept of deferred quests going on in this area, and I kind of like that it forms a theme.
Hello there. What is it? The key to the seal is now in your hands. I will help you in any way possible.
And so, this guy's name is Ingward. I'm not sure if he'll tell it to us now that I think about it. It may be something that he only tells you before you get the Lord Vessel. But, as I was saying, in early builds of the game, this was the only way early on to get a curse broken. Luckily, you're not cursed, which is nice. But, you basically had to go to New Londo ruins, go through all those ghosts, and make your way to this guy if you wanted to have your curse broken. He does sell more transient curses for the journey home, and that's so nice of him. He also sells a spell called Resist Curse, which we should check out. Sorcery of the Red-Robed Remedition? I guess that makes sense. A person who makes... whatever. Ingward. Guardian of the Seal in New Londo. Sacrifice humanity to undo curse. Abhorrent curses eat at the core of one's very existence, and cleansing oneself of curses is no easy task indeed. That's interesting. You can actually... I didn't actually realize there was something that you could do, like, once you got to him to actually break a curse if you had magic. Huh. I forgot this spell existed. Let's see what else he has to say.
New Londo was sacrificed to contain the Dark Wraiths. Mark my words, the Dark Wraiths are the enemies of man and any living thing that has a soul. They were never meant to roam again.
And so now we actually learn that the destruction of this place isn't so much about the ravages of time as it was an intentional decision to seal away the Dark Wraiths, whatever they are. All we really know is that Ingward is very much not a fan of them.
New Londo would mark my word. They were...
Oh, I thought he actually had more to say, but perhaps it'll be later. Yeah, he probably does say something when we break the seal. I'll figure it out. I'm very good at this, I say. But, as a last note, the knife that Ingward has, I believe, is the Ghost Blade, which, without being cursed, can actually damage ghosts. I think that's a really, really nice touch that they gave him. Like, they sort of, like, show you that he's not cursed, but that he has the tools to defeat them. It's one of those, like, just nice little things that show that they clearly thought so much of this out, you know? I really like it for that.